welcome to today's community call, which we are calling Back to School and focusing on different educational opportunities on Odyssey. Well-timed, as I'm sure many of us have kids going back to school in the next week or two or are already back. So a reminder of how we can be more educated within the Odyssey environment. A lot of different areas we're going to talk about today. So let's get started. First, a look ahead at what's coming up over the next month. A reminder, we will not have a meeting next weekend, or next week, excuse me. We'll have some time to prepare for the symposium. Then September, obviously, we're focused on the symposium. So a little bit like a couple weeks ago, we'll just go over some last minute updates, logistics, answer any questions you have on the 7th. Symposium will be the 14th. We're going to do another Welcome to Odyssey, talk about kind of the entire community and hopefully welcome some new people from the symposium on the 21st, and then breakout sessions for future collaboration opportunities on the 28th. All right, let's get to community updates, and we'll start with what's going on right now is the 2021 ISPE conference. We have a lot of Odyssey and EHDEN members there. Danny was kind enough to share, by his count, 3 workshops, 12 oral presentations, 9 posters. Certainly could be more than that between Odyssey and EHDEN community members at ISPE. So that's very exciting. If you are involved, please, share on your social networks and include Odyssey. I'll try to retweet those wherever I can. Make sure people know how involved our community is in this conference. And then also from this conference, Danny was elected as academic director for Europe Africa for the 2021-2022 ISPE Board of Directors. So congratulations to Danny on that. That's a really terrific accomplishment. All right, we talked about the CDM hackathon for a couple weeks leading up to it. That was last week, and I asked Claire if she would just discuss this for a little bit. So, Claire, do you want to share a little?
Yeah. Can you go to the next slide there, Craig? All right, so I thought this was a fun graph. So this actually shows the number of visitors to the OMOP CDM GitHub between the week of the 10th of August and the 23rd of August. So you can see a really big uptick there on the 18th and 19th because we had a lot of work that was going on. There were 25 collaborators by my count over 2 days. And we addressed 33 different issues. I think I closed about 30 different pull requests. And we ended up with one fully functional R package, as well as a ton of different resources and articles that have been written about some of the things like, I think, Kristin, I'm borrowing this from you, who I think you might borrow from Adam, the ghost knowledge of Odyssey. We're starting to try to write that all down. So it was a fantastic experience. I actually got to meet a lot of new people that I hadn't met before. So it was really fun and really engaging. And I think we got a lot done over a short period of time. Can you flip to the next slide there, Craig? So here was our first day. Here are all the folks that joined. I just want to give a huge thanks to everyone involved, especially Frank DeFalco, because he led the code team. And Alan Andrick led the documentation team. So it was a really awesome group effort. And hopefully once we get that R package released and available to you guys, I can come back and give a presentation on how that works and how it's just going to make your lives so much easier.
Great, Claire. Thank you so much. And thank you for leading it and to everybody in the community who took part. You'll hear about the ETL-a-thon from the Asia Pacific community a little later in this call, but we've really had a lot of success with these, 2-day, 3-day events, and I think it's an area for different working groups and different sections of the community. If there's really a topic you want to address, these 2-3-day focused activities have really had a lot of success in the Odyssey community. So I'd really suggest thinking about opportunities in your areas or in your work groups that may may fit into a 2 or 3 day event, because we've really it's been really successful. All right, anything else past events, papers, anything like that that anybody would like to highlight before we move forward? Okay, let's go to where are we going? And we'll start with some work group calls over the next week. A couple were canceled. I know a lot of people on vacation this week. So a couple of work groups canceled will be moved into September. The health equity work group meets today at 2. I know there have been some issues in terms of receiving invites to calls. That is certainly being worked on this morning, as I can see. I was re-added to that work group. So if you were re-added, that's just, we're trying to figure out the issue there. But hopefully that will be taken care of. Anybody from any of these work groups want to talk about agendas for this week, recent conversations that might be of interest to the community?
Yeah, in the health equity work group today, we're going to be reviewing 2 different sort of network study proposals. So yeah, a lot of excitement and opportunity to get engaged.
Great, thanks, Jake. So if you're not getting that calendar invite, you can go to the health equity team and get on the meeting, you know, at 2 p.m. Eastern time or whatever time that is. Also on the bottom, the upcoming work group calls page, the link to the specific meetings are on that page as well. So hopefully that will be taken care of shortly, but there are ways to join. How do we get involved in work groups? I know I bring this up every week, and somehow people miss it. So I'm going to keep doing it. 2 ways to get involved. You can do it from odyssey.org under the Collaborate in MS Teams. Use the Pick Working Groups link right there. Click however many work groups or chapters or studies that you want to join, and we'll get you into those groups. And that's how you join meetings, join the asynchronous chat, file sharing, everything else. You can also do it in the main Odyssey team. On the top tabs, join work groups, chapters. It's the same form, very easy to fill out. Okay, Danny Prieto Alhambra, I mentioned him before. He recently shared that the University of Oxford has openings for 2 senior statistician and senior data scientists within his team. Deadline is 12 p.m. local time on September 20th, 2021. I will have this, the full link, you can see to the right, all the information in the community calls page. Also get it on the forums so everybody can check that out. The next CBER seminar is Wednesday, September 8th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Robert Platt from McGill University will present a talk on COVID-19 pharmacoepidemiology in Canada. That is free for everybody to join. You can register. Again, this link will be on the community calls page as well. Titan nominations. This is the last time you'll hear about them on a community call. The deadline is next Monday, August 30th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. This is really a great opportunity to highlight different members of the community who have kind of gone, in your opinion, above and beyond in terms of community engagement, leading research in the areas of clinical application, open source development, methodological research. You know, there are 7 categories that you can nominate either a person or an institution or a team. You can nominate as many people as you want for as many different categories as you want. They are due, as I said, next Monday. I do want to note, some people have mentioned maybe, you know, how long it takes to nominate somebody. And I wanted to tell you it takes like 2 minutes if you want. It's a really simple process. It is 8 questions, and the first 7 are either fill in a dot or enter a name or an email address. I mean, really simple. The 8th question, the 8th is the reason for nomination. At that point, you can write a few sentences about why you believe any person or team or institution should be considered for a Titan Award. And these are really prestigious awards in our community. If you can ask anybody who's received one, it's pretty meaningful and it's pretty special. And frankly, just being nominated for one is special. We'll certainly highlight everybody who was nominated as well as the winners during the symposium. But please do, you know, take a little time, and it really does only take a little time to go in and nominate somebody for a Titan Award. You have about 6 days left to do it. So please take the time to go in and nominate people, because there really has been some incredible work in the community over the last year. Again, that form will be on the community calls page as well, and we'll get it in the chat. All right, the Global Symposium, September 12th to 15th. We are talking 3 weeks away. There's a new page on OHDSI.org that highlights each of the different days. You can get to it right from the front page. Day 1, the tutorial, Building Conceptsets. That's Sunday, September 12th, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You do need to register for that. Simply registering for the symposium does not get you into Day 1 or Day 2. Those are separate registrations. So again, Day 1, the tutorial for Building Conceptsets. Day 2 is the workshop, all-day workshop, the OHDSI Reproducibility Challenge. So both are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Day 3 and Day 4 would be what you would consider the main symposium, a different plenary on each day. Tuesday's plenary is the OHDSI impact on the COVID-19 pandemic. Wednesdays is generating reliable evidence. Also on Tuesday, you have the State of the Community address, collaborator showcase going from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. On Day 4, the collaborator showcase goes from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern Time. So really kind of giving 2 different, vastly different time periods so that everybody within our community in Asia, in Europe, Australia, North America, South America, everybody has a time that is at least pretty convenient to join our collaborator showcase. And as Patrick talked about a couple weeks ago, we're doing that partially in GatherTown, which should really help facilitate greater networking during the event, which is, the area where we heard the most, we missed out on last year. So please go to this page and read all about it. Check out everything on the GatherTown about the collaborator showcase, because we really do think that's going to be a lot of fun and very interactive. I mentioned that here. There's the full video Patrick shared from the call a couple weeks ago. So if you missed that, or if you just want to watch it again, how we're using GatherTown for the collaborator showcase, please check that out. This is all on the main page. You can find that right on the front page of OHDSI.org. Okay, so with the symposium only 3 weeks away, what can you do? Number 1, register. We have a pretty good total of register already, but we're not anywhere near where we think we'll be. So please don't forget to register, nominate a collaborator for the Titan Award, share our homepage and your excitement for the symposium with your respective networks. Let's get it out on social media. Try to make sure everybody who may not know about it and may not know when it is or may not know what's going on, try to get them interested too. Let's see how many people we can get to this great event. Check out the Sunday tutorial, Monday workshop, and register for those if you're interested. Remember, I'll say it again, because you register for the symposium, that'll get you into Tuesday and Wednesday session. It will not get you into Sunday and Monday. You need to register for those so we have a sense of who will be there. Then if you're part of the collaborator showcase, you're getting a lot of emails from Elise. Please continue to read them. I know, sometimes people get tired of emails, but, as we get closer to the event, just please stay in tune with everything that's happening. The September 1st deadline for posters, I'm going to send out information about the videos for the social showcase, GatherTown, all that stuff. So just kind of stay in tune with what you need to do and when you need to do it by. All right, any other announcements of upcoming work, events, deadlines, etc.? Okay, great. I am going to stop sharing and we are going to go to the different events the different talking points that we have. We are going to start with Mui, who is going to talk about the recent ETL-a-thon that was led by the Asia Pacific community. Mui, if you're talking, you're muted, so.
All right, can you see my screen?
I can, yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So hi, yes. So 2 weeks ago, we had a Asia Pacific ETL training class. It's very similar to the hackathon you guys have in the US or in the Western Hemisphere. It was a 2-day session. We had a schedule for 8 hours each, but we ended up only going about 7 hours each. But to show you guys a bit of a recap, these are some of the highlights in the training that we did. It was our first ETL training on the Asia Pacific side, and we did a lot of it using a structure of some lecture, some hands-on, and some review to make sure everybody really understood what they were learning. And we focused not only on the analysis, but also development and the data quality. So I know in the Asia Pacific side, there was a lot of questions about, hey, how do you install like the data quality dashboard? How do you install Usagi? How do you, index that stuff? So we actually went through a lot of that as well on how to basically load up your environment so that you can utilize this tool, the tools that are available. Overall, 140 people registered. And surprisingly for us, we had about anywhere between 60 to 80 attendees throughout the whole course. Average probably about 60 of them kept throughout the whole day, but they kind of went up and down throughout the day. Okay, so this is, I know it's a little bit small, but the different countries that registered. So we had quite a few people from China, Australia, and Singapore and Korea register. But you can see it was a variety. We were actually quite surprised to see some folks from Europe and US. And I do know that some of those folks were on the phone. They did stay for the training. They may not stay for the whole thing, but I do know, I did recognize some of the voices that are on the call, and was very surprised that they were still there, that they were there and actually attending the training with us. This is kind of the agenda that we had. So day one, we spent a lot of time, again, on the analysis stuff and the tools that were used for analysis and vocabulary mapping. So we went through an intro, the agile methodology that's being used, how to do analysis, how to do vocabulary writing, mapping, and how do you do ETL writing, right? Specs writing. Day two, we didn't really spend a lot of time on actual ETL coding, but more of the philosophy behind it. And one of the things that the attendees really liked was us talking about common issues in the ETL conversion. They found that very useful. We not only talked about some of the issues, but what really was some of the resolutions that came about. And then we showed them how you can properly set up an environment, as well as walk them through the data quality dashboard, how to install it, and how to actually troubleshoot once you have a data quality problem, right? How to actually use the SQL to go back to your code and check. So very similar to what Claire did. We tried to get everybody in the picture and try to get a lot of people to turn on their cameras. But in the Asia side, they're a little bit more shy, even though we had about 75 people when we asked for the shot, but we couldn't fill up the room with pictures. So as an ultimate result, we did a survey, and over 30 people replied to the survey, most of them liking what we did. And they actually asked for a lot more training afterwards. As you can see, they want to do a lot more different trainings based on what we were able to do. Now, if you have an interest in the tutorial and what we taught, all the videos are out there now on the OHDSI website. You can see here day one and day two broken out into little chunks, but you can actually watch the whole thing if you want to. So that's kind of all I have to say. Craig, back to you.
Great, Millie. Thank you very much. Thank you for leading that. Certainly a terrific educational opportunity. So it certainly fits in what we're trying to talk about today. Okay, I am going to turn it over to Kristin Kostka, who has 3 topics she is going to address. Her home center at RU, the Book of Odyssey, and one of her favorite locations, the OHDSI forums. So Kristin, I will turn it over to you now.
No pressure, lightning round, right? Let's see, I'm gonna pull up my screen. Teams is funny, so can someone audibly just say, yep, once it's in presenter mode? It's gonna lag for a second.
Can you also say no, Kristin?
You could say no.
I'll say yes.
It's up now.
You're fooling us.
You're
You're not voting, Christian. Well, I am really excited to cover so many topics today because it's back to school season, which is my favorite time of the year, because it means there's lots of activity that's happening. So for those of you who don't know me, which is a rare number of you. My name is Kristin Kostka. I'm the director of the OHDSI Center at Northeastern University, and I will tell you in just a moment what the OHDSI Center is. But first, since we are in a school mode, I thought I'd tell you a little story, if you will. Once upon a time, a Titan or 2 or 3, or maybe it was 5, 6, 7, hard to know. They took on an incredible task to improve health by empowering a community to collaboratively generate the evidence that promotes better health decisions and better care. If you look closely, you can see George. He's rolling this rock uphill. He's got the weight of Columbia behind him. And it's fantastic. We have this incredible coordinating center at Columbia. We are really, really proud of our community. But you know, it's a really heavy rock. And things escalated quickly. Oh boy, we have been kind of like a hockey stick. These are the favorites in clinical trials, having these upward curves of enrollment or growth. And, you know, we're really excited to have so much success as a community. But if we go back to Port George, that's a big rock for Columbia to have to roll uphill alone. So, you know, out of the goodness of our hearts, I thought I'd play my favorite meme from my favorite movie from the 90s. And if you don't know this one, just Google it. It's a great movie. But help is on the way. We recognize that as a community, our long-term sustainability means that we are all in this together, and there needs to be more support throughout our network to help enrich the amazing work that we're already doing. So this is actual footage of Christian running across the universe saying, yes, let's pull together time and space. And this is where I'm coming from today, the OHDSI Center at the Roux Institute. And I thought I'd keep on this fun and play a bit of a game with you. Have you guys ever played this game with your kids? This is probably more of an American game, although I'm sure it is translated and available in other places. So if you've never played Guess Who before, it's this little board game where you have to guess. You have different personalities. We're going to play it backwards. I'm just going to reveal to you who's in our hand of cards. But the OHDSI Center has many titans behind it who are standing up a support mechanism to really help bolster the great work that's going on. So those of you who might know this personality, this is David Madigan. He's the provost of Northeastern. David is one of the original OMOP PIs, and for those of you who don't know, he's a really fantastic statistician, and he is really what brought the OHDSI Center to Northeastern. Now, next to him, we have Christian, whose name is Mooey today. It's really confusing. But Christian is coming in to the OHDSI Center wearing a little hat. 30% of his time is here to help us build and strengthen our relationship with industry and the data network. Of course, there's me. I'm in here as the director. My day job is really making this function work. And I've got 3 more friends in my camp. This is a new face. Some of you might not have met my colleague, Justin Mangiarides. Justin is a faculty in Bouvet College of Health Sciences. He's a biostatistician. He has led many large cohort programs. He's part of the PROTECT program, and he is a fantastic statistician working on missing data. Justin is helping us build our education programs, which we'll talk about momentarily. Of course, this is a titan you might recognize. Andrew Williams is also part of our OHDSI Center team. He is leading our research efforts and really helping us think about intramural collaboration and ways to expand our use cases. And last but not least, I'll introduce you to Brianne Oliveri Mbui. She's a new faculty that just started this week. She's on vacation. You might see her in the health equity group. Her passion is really around underrepresented groups and population characterization. And I know that she helped contribute to the Aim Ahead submission we prepared a few weeks ago. So this is the team behind the function I'm talking about today. And we are growing, and there'll be a lot of opportunity to add more cards to this. So this particular group at the OHDSI Center at Roux, we're a functional entity that's attached to this brand. So if you don't know what the Roux Institute is, it's a new place that's just north of our Boston campus, and it's up in Maine. And our focus is on life science and medicine, engineering, data visualization, experiential AI. And it's a home that really fits our OHDSI use cases. So that's why the OHDSI Center collaborates with this group. And what do we do? Well, I'm going to talk about this more specifically, But when we really talk about our functions here, we are doing data and research support, we are doing methods development, and we're doing education. And we want you guys to think about how these resources could become useful to you in the network. So on the data and research support, here's a sneak preview of something we're going to be having available this fall. It's called the OHDSI Lab. This looks like Atlas. Oh, it is. But it turns out we're going to have an environment for collaborators who want to do data and research work, who may not have access to their own environment. And this will be a box that essentially has real OMOP data in it that we can run projects in. So we're really excited about this because we know we've heard access is a big issue. And as we go back to school, there's a lot of opportunity of new questions we can ask of our data. And I'd be amiss if I didn't make a Kanye joke here, which is we're not Donda, but we do have a big announcement coming soon on the methods development front. So if you want to see our big Donda-like announcement, I'd highly encourage you to attend the OHDSI Global Symposium this year. Sign up. We've got something coming big on the methods front. I'm not going to cover that too much today, but I want you to think about it. Keep it in the back of your mind. And really, since today's theme is back to school, we want to tell you about the education programs we're thinking about inside of our network. So we are really, really fortunate to have the leadership of Nige Hughes of the Education Work Group. We are really fortunate that Peter and team in EHDEN have spun up the incredible EHDEN Academy. And what we're thinking about going forward is a world of micro-credentials. So I have a snapshot here of these things we call badges, but you can think of them as little ways to qualify the skills that you pick up along your OHDSI journey. So these are in development. This is something that we're going to be piloting. And you might even see it, say, attached to tutorials or other trainings. So we're really excited to talk about this as an opportunity to understand ways to help you guys get sort of the stripes and show your credentials. And so coming soon, in addition to the tutorial that's live here, you'll see information about how to opt into this. So we're really excited. And thank you, Anna and team, because we can't wait to see this incredible tutorial in just a few weeks. We know this is a really important topic. I know I work with a lot of you, and Conceptsets are really foundational to everything we do. And it's also we're saying that a big piece of our life here at Northeastern is experiential learning. And what we are thinking about in the education space is setting up opportunities so people can really plug in and get the skills to do our OHDSI research hands-on. And so we have a thing we call the Experiential Network at Northeastern. This is essentially a repository of all sorts of employer partners, academic partners. And you can think of these as little bite-sized projects that people get an exposure to different key skills. And I know that Andrew is working very hard to think of ways to curate the work products that the community is interested in generating. And we're thinking about how to plug these into our experiential network. So we're really excited about this because we know there's a huge backlog of tasks that we want to do across work groups. And we want to find ways to help really springboard that and leverage the community that we have available here to help bring that work forward. So if you have ideas or things that you'd like to contribute, don't be a stranger. We really want to hear and understand what we can do to nest real applied work into our curriculums. And it's worth saying that we are really preparing this educational curriculum to be comprehensive. So we're thinking across bioinformatics, public health, and while many of this is very much in flight, you can think of us as really listening and responding to this need to curate talent to support real-world evidence generation programs. We know that many of you are posting jobs and having trouble finding the talent you need. We know that you're trying to scale up teams for grants, and we're trying to think of ways to help curate curriculum to train folks so they can be immediately deployable for you. So we're really excited about this. It's a little bit too early to tell you too much on this front, but we look forward to finding ways to promote this once it's gone through our governance. And you can really think of these as modular, stackable elements that help bring people the skills and the training from this incredible body of work that we've made as a community. So I'm really excited about this, and I can't wait for you all to join us in our journey as we mature as an OHDSI Center. And I want to put a teaser out here, which is we had so much fun last week, Claire. I think it might be time to update the book of OHDSI. And I wrestled it out of the hands of Martine and took custody. And now I have the task of figuring out what do we need to put into the Book of Odyssey 2.0. So this is going to be a community effort in concert with the education work group. I know the early stage researchers group has mentioned topics they're interested in. But we had such a great time using the project functionality of GitHub. I think you all can expect to see more of that going forward. And I will pose the question, this is sort of just food for thought, which is, what topics would you like to see in 2.0? You know, we're here to hear your requests, and you can anticipate very soon we want to have an interactive exercise to really curate new articles, to update the content, to help go back and break down things that maybe need more detail, need more examples. So really, this is just a kind of a primer to tell you, we know it's been a few years since the book has been updated, and we're really looking forward to bringing it forward with the body of work we've done in the last 18 to 20 months. And we really think that this is going to be a great tool. So stay tuned for more on that. That'll be after the symposium, but just something to keep in the back of your mind as you see great presentations at the symposium. Maybe you see collaborators spotlighting great work. We want to know, we want to put it into this resource that we've seen has been immensely helpful to our network. But I think it's worth saying we have one really good educational tool that doesn't get utilized as much as it should be. I can't really see you guys, but maybe show of hands. How many people use the forums to ask a question? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Craig, are there a lot of hands? No hands? I can't see the attendee list.
There's a lot of hands coming up.
I just see Christian's hand, which is pretty much how I feel about the forum. It's just Christian, right? So good. I'm glad you're using the forum because it's a really, really incredible resource that has organically grown over the course of the last, 6, 7 years at this point. And I say this a lot when people email me and ask me questions about what we're up to. You know, let's have a dialogue on the forum. Let's talk about what your questions are. I know that there are lots of things that people think, oh, I don't know, maybe it'll make me sound stupid. No such thing. Even if Christian comments and tells you it's a stupid question, it's not a stupid question. No, there's some really great knowledge in here. And I want to bring this up because I think as a community, sometimes we're in teams, we're all over the place. And what's really great about the forums, which is why I want to kind of put a plug in the back to school, as you're navigating new projects or taking on different work, this is a great place to really have the Stack Overflow experience of Odyssey. But unlike Stack Overflow, you know, there's a little bit of uploading here that we can make sure you get to where you need to go. And Google actually does a really good job of archiving what's in our forum. So if you were asking me, hey, Kristin, how do I, you know, I'm thinking about vaccine mapping my data. I have some questions around the vocabulary. You could search something very simple like Odyssey vocab vaccine mapping, put that into Google. And it actually brings up a number of forum posts around different content here. So there's some implementer threads on vaccine mapping. See, that's pretty current. That's only from March. There's some work on preparing for COVID vaccine codes. And I think that it's worth saying that, you know, this is an incredibly powerful place to have dialogues because our community can learn from each other. And there's a real opportunity here for outsiders to be able to search on Google and ask questions and see the learnings that we've cultivated together. So I bring this up because I think it's really powerful that we as a community have collective knowledge. And Claire mentioned it earlier, this idea of ghost knowledge, right? Well, if it doesn't end up in the forum and it stays in my email, it's kind of lost to the greater good to learn from. So just my annual plug that the Odyssey forums are fantastic. There's some great knowledge in there. And we really look forward to curating more content together. And I think that what we should be most excited about is that we are on our journey together, but there's so many more things we can do. And I look forward to finding ways to explore this with you all. So I'll leave you with this, which is Christian and I, you can email us easily at our Odyssey boxes. We're really here to listen to the needs of the community. You can anticipate very soon we're going to be thinking about things like how do we help support software development long-term in the community? How do we help provide services around, you know, data quality, or maybe there's needs around quality measures. Maybe there's needs for how we reproduce studies. there's all sorts of questions that we hear you guys asking around the community. So we're here to be your sounding board, to just listen, to help provide what we can. And we know that the success of our community is to really build and harvest our knowledge and train the next generation. And I'm so excited that Northeastern has invested in this resource, because I just can't wait to see that next generation come up behind us. We already have a few postdocs starting, but the Army is growing, and we look forward to sharing our knowledge as a community and letting people grow into the research leads that'll be our community in 40 years or 30 years. So I'm really excited about that. So I will stop and open it up for, I guess, questions. Craig, I think probably
Yeah, we can open
dialogue.
Yeah, sure. Patrick's going to talk about the EHDEN Academy, but let's step right here. If there are a couple questions we have about RU, because this is such a big part of the community, and really can't wait to see over the next 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, everything that's going to come of it. But if there are any questions right now, we can take a couple minutes before we turn it over to Patrick. Please maybe just raise your hand if you have any questions. And if you don't, that's okay too. But certainly, as Kristin said, please, and it's another thing to look forward to at the symposium. It is a great announcement from RU. Okay, Mark. Mark, you want to ask a question?
Not a question. I just want to say bravo. This is excellent stuff. We're excited. I'm excited. I've got a small team of players here that are trying to do 80 million things, but we're all in. This is great to see, and I'm looking forward to kind of modeling some of our efforts in the educational area according to what you're doing. This is awesome. So, bravo.
Thanks, Mark. Mark, who opened his doors, Case Western Reserve, to help us create the first book of Odyssey. So it's a complete team effort here in our community, and so thank you, Mark, and certainly, as we said, looking forward to so much coming out of the RU over the next few months. But I know it's been a lot of work, and we have great leadership there. So thank you, Kristin, and everybody who's been involved. Kristin did mention a couple of there's a question linked to Northeastern Odyssey resources.
Yeah,
so if you
fun
want
fact, we are not Northwestern. And
Yeah.
if you misspell Northeastern, it still gets you to Northwestern. But I can tell you how to find us really easy. I'll put it in the chat. Odyssey.northeastern.edu is that website will grow over the next few months. We are launching a larger website. It's a winter of 2021, so maybe like a New Year's present. But follow it there. No hard feelings if you call us the wrong name. I'm a twin. I get called the wrong name all the time, so I have no pride of ownership. But I forgot to make one plug, which is we are education and we are research. So the Aim Ahead initiative was a great example of community-led grantsmanship, and I just want to say bravo to that team. I was deeply impressed by how much work went into it. I know that some of these things are kind of wild and we don't know if we're going to get anywhere with it, but we're also here to support that. And huge thanks to Jake and Noemi and Jimmy and Liz and like 1,000 other people, Charisse, who are doing that kind of work. We're supporting them from behind as well.
Great, Kristin. So looking forward to that. Kristin mentioned the education and early stage research work groups, and certainly there's a lot of education that can happen throughout all work groups. I mean, we're all learning together, but those are two that are newer work groups, and they're specifically looking at different aspects of the education opportunities within Odyssey. The education work group, obviously looking at different ways to foster education, how to make them more available to the community. The early stage research group has given us some great ideas for newer junior researchers. What do they need to really succeed and excel in our community? So those are two areas that if you're really interested in this, those might be two work groups that you'd like to collaborate with. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Patrick now, who is going to talk about the EHDEN Academy, another great opportunity within our community, as well as different tutorials at past and future symposiums.
Thanks, Craig. Let me know when you can see my screen.
I see it now.
Perfect, great. Yeah, so I get the opportunity to just showcase for everybody the EHDEN Academy on behalf of the team at EHDEN that has actually done all of this work. Naj Hughes is actually on vacation, but he's leading this effort, and in Peter Reinbeck's lab, Henrik John and others have made tremendous progress on the EHDEN Academy. We realized that it's been a while since someone actually bothered to not just say, go use the EHDEN Academy, but we actually put it on the screen and make you look at it for a second. What you can actually see here is the EHDEN Academy that we talk about. It's at academy.ehden.eu. I'm going to paste that link into the chat so that you all can go directly there yourself. And it provides resources to basically tell you about what the EHDEN Academy entails. For those of you who are not familiar, the EHDEN Academy was initially started as part of an educational resource as part of the EHDEN program to support the EHDEN Project's activities about standardizing data across Europe. But the EHDEN Project has made this a publicly available resource that we in OHDSI have adopted to be an open source educational platform that we can take advantage of. And so all you have to do to take advantage of the EHDEN Academy, it's freely available for everybody. You just go in the top right-hand corner and you can log in, and you can just log in with your, create an account with your email address. And when you log in, you'll actually be brought to the EHDEN Academy dashboard. And you can create your own customizable educational experience within the EHDEN Academy. What EHDEN Academy actually holds is a series of courses that have been designed by members of our OHDSI community and placed in the public domain here in the EHDEN Academy. And you can go through and take all of this course content at your own time and leisure. I'll just show you here on the left-hand side. You can see I've signed up for some courses. But you can actually go look at all of the courses that are currently in the EHDEN Academy. These include foundational information about EHDEN and how to get started. It includes a tutorial about how to actually stand up an OHDSI instance, a technical infrastructure yourself. There's classes on the OMOP Common Data Model and the standardized vocabularies, about the ETL processes that are available, classes on the OHDSI infrastructure itself, how you actually can install tools in your own local environment. There's a class in how to do R programming for patient-level prediction, a class in the principles of patient-level prediction. There's classes in phenotype definition, characterization, and evaluation, a class in tutorials of how to use Atlas, classes in population-level effect estimation. In all of these classes, content, if I click on any one of these courses here, when you dive into a course, what you're going to see is that there's a series of recorded lectures that are available on various specific topics, as well as optional assignments so that you can actually test your competency. And there are even, in fact, examinations at the end where you can kind of test whether or not you've learned the basic skills that are available. And so all of this work is just available as a free resource for you to go through. Within the EHDEN program, this has proven to be tremendously successful for our SME certification program, whereby there are now several dozen organizations who have gone through the process of training themselves to support others in the community with the process of standardizing data to the OMOP Common Data Model and standing up all of the OHDSI tools to make research accessible. And they've used the EHDEN Academy as the backbone to this. I'm sharing all of this with you because I think there's two things that I really want to highlight about this. Number one, for those who are not familiar and you're looking for a resource for educational material, the EHDEN Academy exists now. It's freely available and you should be taking advantage of it. And the tutorials that are already available in here are really high quality and provide a wealth of information to help you get started. The second point that I want to reinforce, I'm just going to go back to this main page here. I'm going to go to this courses here. You can see that we already have whatever a dozen courses that are in the EHDEN Academy. But if you're looking at this and asking yourself, geez, I wish there was a course in name your favorite topic, or you'd say, geez, I think I could produce a course on name your other favorite topic. The EHDEN Academy is a place for us to all collaborate together. And so just as Kristin nicely highlighted that the RU is looking for educational opportunities to support the community, that's in very much close collaboration here with what we're trying to do with the EHDEN Academy. And this is supposed to be a community resource led by our community, developed by our community, for our community, and to continue to spread the good work that's happening within our community. So if you are interested in having an ask and just say, it'd be really nice if there was a course on something, please ask for it. Use the forums, as Kristin highlighted, raise an issue in the EHDEN Academy, and we can talk about how information can be created by the community, and potentially using the EHDEN Academy as a platform to disseminate that information freely to everybody. But also, if you're hearing this and you're inspired by Kristin's call for joining the community, and you're thinking, geez, I'd like to make a contribution, and I'd like to offer up some course material in some topic because you have some skills and expertise you want to contribute, it is a great opportunity, and the EHDEN Academy also provides us a great platform to showcase that work. And so if you're interested in raising your hand and sharing, we'd love to take those contributions and use this as a way to continue to help each other learn about the process. So the EHDEN Academy is really great. If you haven't actually dived in, if you haven't logged in to check it out, you really should. But I want to highlight that you can see that there's these 12 courses that have kind of gone through this rigorous process of developing it. There are still even other ways that you can go back to school, as our theme for today has been implied. One of the things that we have been maturing as a community on is just how to make information available on all of the past efforts that we've done. And I want to highlight one link that you may not have gone to too recently, but at odyssey.org/past events, you're going to see a long history of kind of the history of Odyssey community activities that have taken place. And for the last several years, we've been trying really hard to make sure that when there's a community activity, we try to record those activities and just make those recordings publicly available so that folks can check it out. So on this page, you will notice that like back in 2019, we offered Symposium tutorials. We covered topics of common data model, cohort definitions, patient level prediction, population level estimation, data quality, and ETL. And each of these represent links to materials that were made as part of the symposium in those tutorials, and you can take advantage of those resources yourself. Now this webpage, it goes back with many different prior events, and you're going to see many different tutorials that are offered. Just because something's old doesn't mean that it's not valuable or it has useful content. In fact, like I find myself sometimes being like, hey, I remember when Andrew gave a data quality tutorial and there was this really interesting nugget that I need to go back to. Or when I remember when Weaves gave a good introduction to our population level estimation course. I want to see how he gave that intro. All of this material, even the historical stuff, is quite valuable to go back to. We are absolutely trying to make sure that the latest and greatest is available through the EHDEN Academy and through other resources. But I want to encourage you to, the reason we are purposely archiving everything here is because we think it has value, and you might get benefit from going back and checking out some of this material that's out there. So with that, I'm gonna just go one more thing. So that's kind of looking back on what's already available, both on the EHDEN Academy and our Odyssey past events. So I'm just going to provide one more plug for looking forward. At the Odyssey Symposium in a couple weeks, we will be offering a new tutorial. We've never delivered it before. And the topic is going to be building concept sets. And probably in hindsight, we probably could look back and reflect and say, geez, we probably should have done this one a long time ago, because it's a foundational building block to an awful lot of what we have done in the past. But we do have an all-star roster of community members that are going to be helping to provide this tutorial. That includes Anna and Christian and Kristin and Sarah and Gautam and Jenny and Adam and Melanie and Ed and Asia and Claire. And myself, and we're going to be providing this tutorial in even though it's a virtual environment, it is going to be highly interactive. We've deliberately created it in such a way that there will be some demos and there will be breakout exercises where everybody's going to get their hands dirty playing with Atlas to build concept sets across a variety of ways. I had Elise actually, because we've had such great volunteers from our community to offer to be teaching assistants, we've been able to expand the registration list for the tutorial so we can actually accommodate more people to join us. So if you haven't yet registered for this tutorial, but you're interested, I encourage you to come join us. I think it's going to be a fun Sunday, September 12th, that we're going to get to really go through kind of a really basic skill that if, as you master it, you'll find that it'll be tremendously helpful and reusable in much of your research. I got to spend an hour yesterday with our friends at N3C going through a very, very brief version of this, and I think that all that it proved was that we need a heck of a lot more than just a 1 hour to talk about this important topic, but hopefully I created enough confusion that some of our N3C colleagues will come join us for this extended session where we can learn from each other. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't yet signed up, I'm going to paste the link in the chat here to sign up for our tutorial, and please check that out. And as with everything, if you can't be there on that Sunday, we will record the tutorial and try to make all of the information available through our various channels. And as Kristin highlighted, there may also be an opportunity to think about if you would like some formal micro accreditation. You'll hear more information coming out of RU about badging, and we're going to try to hopefully use this tutorial as a starting point for how to make that available to everybody. So with that, I will stop and hand it back to Craig, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Great, thank you, Patrick. We have about 7 minutes to go. So that is all of our presentation. So I want to leave a little time for any Q&A about EHDEN, about RU, about basically anything you've heard so far today. Please feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. Okay, everybody is good. They know everything they need to know moving forward.
Hey, Craig, I have a question since you have a minute.
Go ahead.
So at the beginning, you mentioned the Titan Awards, but I forget, individuals can get Titan Awards, but can whole groups of people get Titan Awards? Can, like, teams of people? Is that a thing? I mean, you might as well remind people
I think
that can happen, right?
They can, and if you want more information, you can click the link that literally just appeared in the chat, and you can take these next 5 minutes that you had dedicated to learning about OHDSI, about education in OHDSI, and go see whether you can nominate a person, a team, or an institution, and for what different Titan Awards that you can nominate them for. There are 7, so let's make that happen. You have 6 days. Any more questions? Just, you have no idea how happy it makes Patrick when the list of nominations goes up. And we're an okay number, but we're not there yet. He's smiling right now, but he's really not happy.
I'm dying inside. There's more cool things happening in our community than are being recognized by you all. So stop being so selfish and nominate others.
And newbies can be Titans too, you know. Don't self-exclude if you think you're new to OHDSI. You might be doing something really cool that's helping the community.
All right, I'm going to give you 5 minutes now to go nominate. You really won't take more than 5 minutes. Somebody stopped, and so it took them 30 hours because we can actually see how long it takes. But really, it should take you 3 minutes. So why don't you go ahead, nominate somebody from a Titan Award. Reminder, we will not have a meeting next week. We will get back together September 7th. And somebody just wrote the URL is not opening for a tutorial, so we'll check on that. But I do think they are working, but we'll check on that. But anyway, give it a look. We will see you September 7th. We'll have a final session about the symposium, and then the symposium is in 3 weeks, so can't wait for that. feel free, if you have any other questions, think of something, use the chat that stays open. Otherwise, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Enjoy the rest of the month. Good luck with everybody's work on Symposium posters, presentations, everything like that. And we'll see you in September.